Welcome to Skol Chat. We are a group created by four guys for the love of the game, specifically for our favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. We are four fans who get together to discuss all aspects of the team. We have room to add a couple of you at a time during our airings and would like you to join us in our chat. Although the game may only last a season, the desire for the game and the team is year-long. Please hit the subscribe button, follow us on YouTube, and give us either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on your experience, and leave us a comment. If you'd like to join us during the show, contact us at the email link provided below.
Welcome to Skol Chat 53. This week, we're going to recap the first preseason game against the Giants. We'll talk a little Vikings news and give any updates we may have heard from the Ravens joint practice. We'll preview the upcoming game against the Ravens coming on Saturday here at noon. And then we're going to finally start the NFC North previews with the greasy, grimy, smelly Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
You know how tough that was to do my homework on that. That's just as bad as eating chicken, I tell you.
I couldn't do my homework. It was blocked on my computer.
Work.
The Packers blocked him because he's a huge Chicago fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe they heard the plot that he was going to go and kick him in the knee when they were getting ready to come out of the tunnel. That's what it was, too, you know.
If you like what you see or hear, like, subscribe, comment, hit the things, do the stuff. Before we get into it, though, I know everybody's going to be super happy. It's return on the memes. No more Viking story time. I got bored with that. But we'll start with this one. And I'm not sure why it's such a crappy picture, but welcome to the NFL preseason where everything is made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly.
I think Tom might like this one. New phone. Who dis?
Wait, that bad, but I tell you, it was interesting.
Well, it's still interesting because you didn't get his text.
Yeah, but then I messaged Joe just to himself, and it's good. But every group chat I have on my phone that transferred to my new phone, none of them work.
You didn't switch from Apple to Android or vice versa, did you?
Well, I switched from AT&T to
Just a carrier. Okay.
Verizon through Straight Talk.
Gotcha. No, sometimes if you have an iPhone and you switch to Android, like it just doesn't cross over very well. Or
Well, no, can't even do a video call because somebody's got an iPhone or I got an Android and yeah.
Do you have an Apple, Joe?
yeah. So I know that if I try to send Owen, try to send my son some videos or pictures, he can't get them because he has an Android.
Okay, see.
And GIFs and all that fun stuff. So just because he can't see them.
That's what I had before too.
Yeah, I have an Android. I've always carried Android.
Huh.
Yeah,
Weird.
I never got into Apples because of way back when,
Bit into one, found a worm.
Well, anyway, it's just a long story. I don't want to get into Apple,
Yeah.
We'll save that for a rainy day.
Yeah, when we don't have nothing else to bitch about. Sorry.
We'll add it to the podcast idea page. Notes I keep. A breaking: Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel makes it through an entire practice without cheating on his wife. It probably Diana wasn't there. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is gonna go viral.
I'm not sure if she's working anywhere, or if the Athletic let her go yet or not. Drake May already overthrowing AJ Brown. Bro about to request another trade. Kind of seems like AJ Brown's the new Stephon Diggs because every team Stephon Diggs played for after the Vikings, you're always wondering when the next trade request was coming.
Yeah. Picked him up this time.
The Patriots. Yeah, I think I don't know if they traded for him or I think they might
I
have.
thought they
just had him.
traded it for him.
Well, he started with the Titans and then was on the Eagles, and then the Patriots traded for him from the Eagles. Wasn't that how it worked out?
That's Ben. When did they do that? Because
I thought he was playing for Houston and he went up to the Patriots.
Was that what it is?
Yeah, because he went from the Bills to the Texans, and then he went up to Patriots, but he was there since last season. So
Well, I say, yeah. So he played for the Titans, then joined the Eagles in 2022.
He's actually on the Washington Commanders now.
Oh, is he?
he's sure moving around. You just
So-
want to dig that, don't you?
Oh, it must have been an old meme, but like, I forgot that he played for the Patriots.
Yeah, he played for the Patriots, and then he was done with them, and then Washington just picked him up just within the last week.
All right. Well, now we know it's half the battle. That might be good to know for fantasy. Take a good look at this one. I'm honestly, is that Jordan? Who is that? I should have looked at who it was, but this one says, "Whose goddamn white baby is that?"
Oh boy,
Because it looks like a little white girl. I don't know.
light skin.
God, I wish I remember what it was. What is it? Barr and Kendrick called their show Been Out of Shape.
Yeah.
So Brian O'Neill was on there. They were at the Vikings studio recording their podcasts. And anyways, who the hell was it? I'm trying to think. But anyways, they told him to show a T-shirt. And it says that something had to have been the black players gave him a T-shirt and making reference to he's a real cool white dude. He's, something like that. It was kind of funny. So go back and look on Bent Out of Shape and catch that on with O'Neill. It was funny. So anyways, I couldn't help it.
How much they paying you for that plug you're just giving out for the 3 viewers?
Hey, get a little education.
Vacation?
Education.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
going to educate you. Well, so I'm going to educate you here because here's a math problem. Did you know that 1 out of every 3 Packers fans is just as stupid as the other 2? All right. And I couldn't pass this one off. This is from back when they announced Kyler was the starting quarterback. How do you feel about the starting job, Kyler Murray?
A little video. It's
Yeah, there's another one like the little, he's just a little guy just running around.
They should have put little puppets on his hands too.
what they should do is have another podium next. Or one short one.
Yeah, the short jokes are getting kind of old by now, but I mean, I couldn't pass it up. It looked too funny.
Oh, they're funny.
It's a little head popping out. So the Vikings played their first game though last Saturday. They beat the Giants in a barn burner, 13-10. Not much happened. Justin Jefferson sat out. It was kind of a humdrum preseason game. It started out pretty well, but then like I don't know, like wasn't like the head ref? Didn't they switch him out for somebody else? And then all of a sudden the flags just started flying, and then the game became unwatchable.
I can remember. Must have been about Jefferson was on there on the sideline talking. But anyways, Paul Allen made a comment about, there were 5 hours into 5 hours something into the game here.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just how it went. I think overall, the first series on offense looked pretty good. They moved the ball well, but I think there was some miscommunication on that third down play between Kyler and Aaron Jones. Then the first team defense played pretty good too. They kind of, kept the defense or kept the Giants, off timing. 1 sec here. I got something in my throat. I'm choking like the Vikings do when they get in the championship games. It only happens like when I'm recording and talking a lot. I don't know why.
That's too on the phone talking for a long period of time. I start getting that tickle in the throat. You start coughing and whatever. So
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, overall the defense looked good, and then Dallas Turner got a sack on the third down and caused the Giants to have to punt out on their first possession.
Quite a few of the guys look good. Addison, Mason, Claymore.
Yeah, I think those are the ones that stuck out. I mean, Miles Price made some plays. They really tried to feed Dylan Bell on a few plays, and he just didn't seem to work out too well. Jamal Adams, though, the turf monster got him. So he was recovering from a torn hamstring, completely torn, and that's why he played linebacker last year. It was getting better, then all of a sudden now he tore his quad, I think it was his quad.
ligament.
Was it a quad ligament?
That's what I heard O'Connell saying, that he'd be out the rest of the season with I thought he said a ham ligament or whatever. It could be the quad. I don't know.
Well, what I saw was like, but so in my mind, it's like you're compensating, overcompensating, right? That all, like your hamstring's injured, then all of a sudden you hurt your quad just because your quad's like, carrying the load, I don't know.
Right.
He did say a torn ligament, so whatever.
But yeah, so he's going to be sticking around the team according to O'Connell, though, from what I heard.
Yeah.
So he'll be cheering on all the wins and beating the Packers and making the playoffs, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, the Vikings go all the way. He'll be on a winning team. You see how
Yeah.
he didn't have to do much to do it, but he encouraged young guys, tell them, explain how to do this and that. Yeah, got a lick.
But he was looking pretty good. He was making some splash plays before he got hurt. And then I think Max Brosmer had to leave the game. I haven't heard if what happened to him. He hurt his thumb.
Yeah.
I think Theo Jackson started ahead of Jay Ward, which I thought was kind of strange, or not strange, but just.
Well, that's what, too, even during practice, wasn't he out there on the first team along with Metellus on the safeties, so then they did that rotation bit again, so it's hard to tell, Jackson might play a series or during the series getting swapped out for this one or whatever the rotation might be. But, I'm not going to sweat it, but I'd be happy when Harrison Smith's come back.
Yeah.
The hitman, Harry,
Keep our fingers crossed that that's what happens. I mean, especially with Adams, being hurt, not being on the field to help kind of line things up. And obviously Metellus has been in the league long enough. He should kind of be able to help out with that too. But Jay Ward did blow up Jackson. What's his name? Jackson Dart?
Yeah.
He did blow him up and cause him to leave the game for a couple of series.
Yeah. I'll be right back, folks. I ran empty. I got to fill her up.
Okay, nice. Caleb Banks, though, he did not play well.
No, he did not play well for the game. Sounds like he did okay in the practice today, yeah.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, he's kind of he was playing too high, wasn't playing with leverage, and was getting pushed out of the way. So, but yeah, sounds like they coached him up pretty good after that, and he's kind of hopefully starting to get it, through the practices with the Ravens.
Well, that's one thing about Banks. He hasn't been practicing that much. They haven't, they throw him in here and there, and it was said during the game, he was attacking too high or then, yeah. But anyways, yeah, and part of it was because he wasn't getting the reps in, so.
The last note, I think, from the game was Max Bredesen. I think the first play was a run play, and then I think they tried passing the ball.
Yeah, he caught like a 2-yard pass or something like that. It was his first play, dunk it out to him for a couple of yards, just, I think they were, trying to throw out the defense a little bit, so it worked.
And I think like what we talked about recently, I mean, it's going to be a draft where players that were drafted are actually going to be on the field for their rookie season, which, hasn't been the case in the last few years. So that is a positive there.
Yeah.
Anything else that stuck out from the game?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get into the game till like mid third quarter or whatever. And that's when, after whatever, Carson Wentz played snaps here and there and made that touchdown to Mile Price, one-handed catch, that good stuff, and anyways, I guess he's doing pretty good out there in practice and in some of the, like the first game, so, and what I heard, he was doing pretty good at practice between, with the Ravens, so. Anyways, I guess today they did the kickoff and that. I guess he made a return. So
One last thing from the game. Bo Richter, my Mr. Mankato defensive choice, got a sack. So there was that. So that's a good thing. So Vikings news, Justin Jefferson was just announced that he was number 19 of the top 100 players in the NFL from 2025.
Wow.
I think based on his production, he just barely getting 1,000 yards last year. I mean, I'm not upset. Some people are upset that he's only 19.
Well,
No, I wouldn't be upset. No.
I'm glad he made it that high,
I wouldn't have thought he would have been that high.
Especially when you're looking at 2025, when he did drop some balls and he, also didn't seem like he would, try to defend anything after, the other team got interceptions and stuff. So they did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it were the last 5 years, then best players in the last 5 years, he should be up higher. But again,
Yeah.
with 2025. So I just saw a report that Kyler's not going to play the rest of the preseason, and kind of like what you talked about quite a bit, John, was that JJ McCarthy last year didn't get any reps
Right.
in the preseason, so then it started out rough right off the bat just because of that.
Yep.
I mean, are you worried about that with Kyler?
I am a little bit because, he just got named the starter within the last couple of weeks. So he hadn't gotten all those prior reps, before. And he's still learning the system. I mean, when coaches are comfortable, they're going to say they're comfortable. But I don't know. I hope it doesn't come back to bite us in the rear end again.
Well, when Kyler first, was interviewed there, he commented about, splitting the reps. He's not getting all the reps for team reps. Well, it shows up to, or, that he, that might have been different if he had all the reps, from the get-go, but I think he should play,
Yeah.
series, but I guess they didn't want to take a chance of him getting hurt.
No,
Yep.
and I understand that portion of it, but he hasn't had back to back great practices,
No.
up to this point. And to me, if we had that all along, I'd be a lot more comfortable with them making that decision. But he hasn't been able to throw, together back to back days where he's, doing a great job, just with very few mistakes.
Not being consistent. Quite a few of our quarterbacks are the same way. They have good days and they have their bad days.
Yep, and I understand that, but when you're not putting a string of anything good together, solidly.
But
Well, like you always say, stack on top of each stack. But the thing is, well, what I heard was the last two practices with against the Ravens, I guess he did all right, But like always, it was good for him. There are things got to improve on, get better at, and So, but I agree with you. He should be out there for at least a couple series to get get it down. But way it sounded, not very many of the what do you call it, the number ones are going to be out there.
No.
It's more of the
the ones that still need
down up to a 90 count, I guess it's what they're going to primarily look at, and also give McCarthy more reps, so keep on improving, then be a better backup, I guess, But then he could fall on his face and they have to swap out and put Wentz as number 2 or the backup quarterback. That's the way it was said.
Well, and that's also just mean so with Kyler not playing, that means JJ is going to get an opportunity to play a bunch, especially if Max has still got an ouchy thumb. But that whole fact has got people starting to talk again about they want to showcase McCarthy to try and trade him. Anyone buying stock yet on that?
No, I'm not personally. I honestly believe that they want to keep McCarthy. He's only 23. They want to work on developing him so he can become a starter for the Vikings, be a franchise quarterback. And I honestly believe that when O'Connell said that from the get-go, after announcing Murray as the starting QB. So I take his word for it. I think he was serious and whatever. But then again, you never know. Hell, I have a favorite 57 Chevy, 327, 4 on the floor, beautiful shape. No, I wouldn't give that up for nothing. And somebody comes along with about 75 grand. Okay, come on, put it right there. Put it right there.
Seriously,
So,
a third
anything-
round draft pick. Then is what you're saying.
The answer is no. It's got to be up closer.
Oh, you're not getting
Oh,
Cody straight in a first round or a second round for JD.
if he showcased that he could fill the shoes, well, people,
If
you
he
know,
shows he can outplay second stringers.
think then, hey, you never know. A hard up team, please, here, take this, you know.
Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? But
I don't think
again,
they're gonna
personally, he's
trade
not.
him.
They're not trying to trade him. He's going to get some snaps, and hopefully it'll pay off at some point.
I mean, look at that's why they're talking. Just like, well, we had talked about the joint practices. They say they want to use that to evaluate Kyle Murray more than what they already have done, just to see how it goes.
Oh,
But I haven't heard much of that. Going with our other, quarterbacks, just with Kyle Murray individually.
Well, see, another thing pointed about what O'Connell likes about the joint practices is scripted, but yet is like a game day atmosphere because they're playing an opposing team. They're not playing their own defense. They can
Right.
judge how far they are and also work on certain plays, see how well it works against different defense and whatever. And they get more reps. And like today, it was up to 2.5 hours of practice, and they get more reps than any other time during training camp because of, so that's
no,
one of the other reasons why they decided not to put Murray in during the game. So,
We have quite a few starters that are going to sit out for Baltimore.
yeah, it's primarily anybody on second string, offense, defense, and some of the rookies and down the line. And so that guys can see or show that they're doing the techniques, they're making improvements and whatever, make it harder for them to decide who makes the 53 and who comes back on the practice squad if they're not playing. So
Get them under some pressure and see what they do.
Well,
No, that's good.
somebody that won't be making the roster and probably won't be making the practice squad is Eric Johnson II. He was released and they signed offensive guard Joshua Gray. So just needed a body. So they got a body. There is recent news about your favorite team, Tom, the Bears. The Bears, more talk about them moving to Indiana and Chicago and the state not jumping in to try and keep them in the state. So
what are they going to call themselves?
Well, that's what-
Indiana Bears?
Well, that's what I was just wondering. Like, are they going to continue to call themselves like the Chicago Bears, but yet have a stadium in Hammond, Indiana?
I mean, there's
It's going to go with the Indianas.
Yeah, but
It'll
they
be
got a
just
couple of
great.
sites that are, though, I guess their ideal is that they could use both sites, but there's a couple of different sites that are viable sites, I guess is what they're saying. So,
I didn't hear that.
but I mean, at this point, they're spending money to do all these surveys and stuff
They're saving
So-
just enough to get JJ though. They're looking to pick him up.
to back up.
Well,
After he gets hurt, since he's on the cover of Madden.
Yeah, the last 5-10 minutes.
All right, so the Vikings are having joint practices with the Ravens, and we kind of talked about it a little bit already. From what I've heard, the defense, especially kind of today, they've shut down Lamar and they've shut down the Ravens offense. But it wasn't until they started calling Deacon dive, just short passes and all that stuff. It's when they were starting to get some success against the Vikings defense or the first team defense. Dallas Turner was blowing them up. Vikings wide receivers were kind of cooking the Ravens DBs quite a bit. And then I had heard yesterday that both Kyler and JJ started out rough, but they ended it pretty well. And I heard Kyler played okay today.
yeah.
So there is, I guess, 1.5 practices of positive momentum. So maybe they just got to remain consistent. I think that's the thing with any sport, right? The more consistent you are, the better you.
You get to do it by doing it. By the practice and every opportunity you get to do it.
And so these joint practices, and we've talked about, you said like a lot of the starters from both teams aren't going to play because they're having joint practices. So they're having a lot of, I guess you can call them live reps, almost game simulation. So are we just kind of looking at the game on Saturday, just kind of like what we looked at the last game, just to kind of see, hopefully the rookies that were drafted play well. Hopefully there's some, I don't know, some development. Like we talked about Caleb Banks. Is he going to play with lower leverage? Is he going to still get pushed off the line? That's pretty much what all I'm looking at.
Big Sisters, I guess it done pretty well from one day to the next, being consistent, blocking, being unmovable, putting pressure. Even thought, that's a good thing,
Well, no, is that what you're looking forward to seeing in the game on Saturday? To see both, Big Citrus is.
Well, yeah, I like to see if they throw them in there. It's not that, the turf monster like New York, the turf be all right for Banks to play on. But yeah, I like to see them young boys out there. And what I'm looking forward to is seeing how McCarthy does.
I want to see Devon Claiborne and see how many carries he gets, and see if he actually tries to pass protect. And I guess he's not catching the ball too well in practice, and they kind of steered away from having plays where he catches the ball. But hopefully they try it in the preseason game, and hopefully plus one for a big carry.
I kind of heard the scuttlebutt. Little birdie kind of told me this. I believe he's out with the jug machine working on his receiving.
Well, yeah, he's got I guess he fumbled today or yesterday too. So that was a knock on him during camp so far, is that he's been putting the ball on the ground like he did in his last year in college. So hopefully the jug machine helps.
There was a question about that yesterday. He made a good run, but at the end, the question was, did he drop it or was the ball knocked out? Either way, he got to hang on to that pigskin. But yeah, I can remember Adrian Peterson going through that, dropping the ball. So he worked on gripping that mother. That's why he was so strong, shaking your hands, So
I think he fumbled 3 times in the championship game against the Saints. One less fumble, and the Vikings might have been in the Super Bowl and probably would have won it that year.
Yeah.
Well, let's just jump into the Packer preview. So I'm just going to do a little recap of their season last year. So they finished 2025 at 9-7-1, and they made the playoffs for the 6th time in 7 years underneath the Fleur. And we all remember they lost double digits. They were leading by double digits against the Bears in the playoffs, and they ended up losing to the Bears. The Packers' offense last year was 16th in the league for points, average points per game. They had 23 points per game and 15th in yards per game. Jordan Love had 23 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, and that number, those touchdown passes, have gone down every year since 2023, I think it was. And of course, he missed 2 games due to injury. Josh Jacobs didn't rush for 1,000 yards. He only had 929, but he did have 13 touchdowns. And their leading receiver last year was Dobbs. He had 724 yards and 6 touchdowns. So the defense, he's gone too. So their highest production last year is out. And again, we can kind of get to it when we talk about their offense or their receivers or what we think about them. But the defense was 14th in the league in third down percentage, 21st in red zone defense, 11th in points per game with 21.2 given up, and 12th in yards per game given up. 194 yards passing per game for 11th in the league and 6th in the league at 6.4 yards per attempt. The defense had 8 fumble recoveries and 7 interceptions. Jonathan Gannon is the new defensive coordinator, and they're going to be switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3 base defense with him.
Well, we'll see how that goes.
And that's another thing that you got to take into account. New defensive style. Last year, Parsons had 12.5 sacks. Evan Williams had 3 interceptions. And Zane Anderson had 2 fumble recoveries. So are you waiting to say something?
Yeah, can I jump in now about my little bit of research?
Sure.
Okay. I checked out the dude from the Packers and he went through his prediction. And of course, he got Bears number one because they played so well last year. And they tough. Anyway, then he thinks the greasy Packers are going to be number two. Then, of course, he puts the Vikings at number four, and he was going through all the same thing you were saying about each team, their record, where they, whatever. And he gave the low and the high, which I can't remember it all. I could have wrote it down, but then I wouldn't be able to see it to read it. So, but the point I'm going to get to this season, shuffling around the O-line, even at this point, after playing the Steelers and whatever, they're still shuffling their O-line around, question mark. I think it's a defensive back. It's a Nixon, something like that. I think it starts with an N. He was their starter last year, but if I'm pronouncing his name right, he had an interview and he said he's being punished, and because there is talk that been kind of let out by the coaches and that he may not end up being the starter this year.
Really?
So they made
What was the-
comments about the secondary, and even though they drafted, so anyways, that's part of what I found out. And then, of course, what the rookie, the edge rusher, he was out for a week because he, he just got back to practice yesterday. I was going to check out Love's chatting with Rich Eisen on his Rich Eisen show, but I don't know, something happened and I lost that one and I could have searched it, but I was busy, whatever. Anyways, I really wanted to watch it. And anyhow, so my preview of the Greasy Packers is there's a lot of question marks. And what they hit on us is because we signed Kyler Murray. So, and then of course, how it went last year with McCarthy, So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth, okay?
So, they didn't do much in free agency, and they didn't have a first-round draft pick because they made the Micah Parsons trade before last season.
That's another thing. Parsons said, and what they said, that he'll be back game 5 against all teams, Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
Okay,
I'm sure
sorry for interrupting, but yeah.
Well, no, it just kind of goes into what I was going to say. So, the Packers didn't give up as much as the Vikings gave up back when they made the Herschel Walker trade for, to the from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But that was a sign that the Packers thought they were closer to the Super Bowl than they actually ended up being. I mean, that was a pretty big leap or a pretty big investment that caused them to not have draft capital, to not be able to target higher end free agents, better players maybe. And they might have, if they didn't do that Micah Parsons trade, they might have had some money left over or the ability to sign other players.
They signed Hargrave.
Well, yeah, we all know, how well he played for the Vikings last year, which, we'll see how that goes for them.
Yeah, good old Tom's a big question mark about him. He didn't do so well with the Vikings. So,
well, and I think
give an impact as he should have. Still had some impact, but not as big as it.
Yeah, right.
But then there's other analysts that are, positive on how many wins the Packers are going to end up with. But I think, in my opinion, a lot of these people have a lot of assumptions on the Packers roster being better than it actually is. I don't think the Packers roster is that great. I don't think their offensive weapons are that good. And I think the assumption is that a lot of they've lost a lot of players. And I'll go list over some people that have left. And you mentioned Dobbs being gone. There's a bunch of other players that are left. Are they traded away themselves that are, so then there's other players that have to step up and they're going to have to take a big leap. And there's a lot of assumptions being made that these players are going to take that big leap.
No, that'd be good. There's a lot of them that need to step up.
But I think that assuming that all these players and all these positions on both offense and defense are going to do just that, I mean, you can probably say 50-50 every given year on if you need a player to step up on whether or not they're going to. And add to that they have the 16th hardest schedule in the league, which is right in the middle of the pack, but still, I didn't.
Yeah.
That was kind of a pun. I didn't mean it, but some
Yeah.
people are saying their ceiling is 13 wins and their floor is like 7 to 10 wins. And so we have the Vikings are at 9.5 wins for their over under. The Packers are at 10.5.
Well,
So
going back to that, I heard that over under predict the Vikings will win the opening season against the Packers by 1.5 points.
Their problem is they need to be able to keep their receivers, their good receivers, healthy for a full season.
Yeah.
well, we saw that their best receiver was Dobbs last year,
Yeah.
and he only had 700 yards, and he only had 6 touchdowns. Christian Watson had 6 touchdowns, but he was hurt out
Yep.
of games, and he's been hurt every. And they still signed him for how much? For that.
Yeah, big money too.
That's crazy.
So yeah, they lost.
No reason.
Malik Willis left. Romeo Dobbs left. They lost an offensive lineman, Elton Jenkins. They released Quay Walker, which is their second highest sack guy last year, or one of them, or one of the highest ones. And they have Inagbare. He was let go. Rashawn Gary, they traded. Colby Wooten, they traded. They released a corner, Nate Hobbs. They signed Sean Ryan to be a center. When you talked about Javon Hargrave, they signed him as a defensive tackle. They have a former Minnesota Golden Gopher Benjamin St. Juste. They signed him to be a corner. And we talked about they didn't have a first round pick, so their highest pick was round 2 in the 52nd pick, and they got a corner, and then they ended up getting defensive tackle, kind of going the Vikings route, defensive tackle, defensive end. They got their center and guard a little bit earlier than we did. But yeah, really overall, like I said, they lost, I think, almost as much as they gained. And they only finished with 9 wins last year. And that means that a lot of people are going to have to contribute who didn't last year to a level that they're not used to playing at.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Are some of these players going to take the next step? There's a big question about the end of the year. And there's a big question on them the beginning of the season here, especially the way the preseason game went, and how practice going and all that. But
yeah, so like I said, I think I need to see it before I believe it. I'm saying that they're probably going to be at 9, 10 wins. I mean, that's the highest I think I would ever go was 10 wins for them. I think I'd be closer to 8 or maybe 8 or 9. I think 9. I'm going 9 wins. 9 wins, 8 losses.
I got a tendency to go along with you. I actually like to see it lowered, but I'm just.
I'll go 8.
I'm gonna go 7.
You got more cojones than I do.
That's okay. They low floor the Vikings every year, so.
Good thing I'm not putting money down on it because I'd probably lose it anyways. But
I could borrow you some butterflies.
We know the saying about what the sun shines on.
Don't shine on. What did you say you could use, Tom?
Oh, I said I could borrow you some butterflies. Let me go open my wallet.
Butterflies.
Butterfly in a book. Come take a look. All right, is it in a book? Let's take a look. Reading Rainbow. So 9 wins for me. Dad, you were saying 9 wins too?
Yeah.
John saying 8. And Tom, what did you say?
7.
7.
Ooh.
He's got
All right.
more cojones than we do. Like I said, man. Yeah.
Just keeping notes just so we can take a look at it at the end of the season and realize how wrong we were.
Hey, that's all right.
Well,
I'm hoping I'm wrong if you get the drift.
I mean, they got to play the Vikings twice and the Bears twice. So I think that's 4 games right there.
Well, I think it was said that talking
Once
about
to
the schedule. I think the dude said that probably lose to the Bears. So
yeah. So this is their offensive line. The left tackle was the right guard last year, and the left tackle gave up 5 sacks at right guard. Their left tackle last year gave up 7 sacks. So, we're not signing him. But this guy gave up 5 sacks at a guard position, and they moved him to left tackle. Now, you're saying they're still shuffling them around, so maybe that's changed. And this is what they're going to be starting. They got Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, and Tucker Kraft is back, going to be ready for the first game. But then Luke Musgrave got hurt at some point in practice, so I'm not sure if he's practicing again. But yeah, they lost, again, their highest production receiver Romeo Dobbs. So this is their roster, and none of them caught above 6 touchdowns or had over what they believe 500 yards.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes for sure.
I think, yeah, again, a lot of people are going to have production that they didn't have beforehand. And again, this is just their defensive front seven showing who they have. And again, they traded or let people go. So then this Lucas Van Ness is going to have to get a sack and a half last year. So he's going to have to, and I think the highest sack count is Micah Parsons had 12 and a half. And the next highest person, I think, was 4. And I'm not even sure if they're on the team anymore. And then I guess the strength of the defense would be the corners or their secondary, just based on, their performance last year. But they only had, I think, 6 combined interceptions
That
last
guy
year.
on top is the one I was talking about. They were saying that he said that he was being punished, and there was talk that he might lose the starting job or won't have the starting job come the season.
Wow. And these are the NFL experts in what they select. Most of them are 10, 9, or 7. I mean, so it's right in that game, that gap, 10 to 7 wins. And it all really depends on which way the ball bounces sometimes. And again, if they have production that they expect. Anything else, I think we kind of covered the Packers. And again, I don't know if we dug as well into them as we could or should have, but I think we covered them pretty well. Yeah. Final thoughts on anything else?
Well, I'm just saying, sorry, folks. My eyes are going bad. I have problems seeing writing. I got to go through all the special using a flashlight or my super magnifier. I try to remember what I am seeing or hearing. But anyway, I probably could have gone in, like I said, back a couple years ago, I could write the crap down and be able to go off my notes, but it's, I don't know what else to say, but I try.
Sounds like a defeatist attitude to me.
Oh,
Winners do. Winners just they figure out another way.
yeah. I think I did too much. Right where they made the little incision for my surgery. Anyways, I was getting it not constant, but there's kind of sharp burning, quick pain. That only lasts maybe 5 seconds, and then it kind of hurts, and then be gone for a bit. And
sounds like your nerves are regenerating.
I don't know, but it was after I did some lifting and holding up and lifting at the, you're pulling on that and whatever. So yeah, the good news is got the 4-wheeler going again. I was down. Yeah, the weirdest thing anyway, back to the final thoughts.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about football again.
Yeah, well, I was hoping I could ride the 4-wheeler and John could throw a long one to me and maybe I could.
Yeah, what you have to do is ride the 4-wheeler, hold the Vikings flag, have John throw you the football. You have to catch the football, tuck it in your arm while holding the flag, and then drive still.
Flag, football, flag, driving. Yeah.
Good ma, no hands.
With bugs between my teeth.
That's not anything different. With that, though, if you like what you see, hear, probably not see, you probably don't like what you see, but if you like what you're hearing, like, subscribe, comment, do the things, hit the stuff. That, though, we didn't do we did. Never mind. I completely forgot what we talked about when we had the game preview. We already talked about it. I thought we skipped it. But Skol Vikings. Correct eye contact. Don't blink.